means truth. So tell me about your spiritual journey.
Lindsay Warwick, the conduit on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. This is Tattva Tuesday, spiritual interview series where I interview guests about their spiritual journey, their conception of God or source, and anything else that really wants to flow through. The unique thing about this podcast is that it is a raw take. I usually don't do any editing, which is kind of cool and unique and fun. So I am so excited to have Nicole Angel on the podcast today. Hi.
Hi. Hey, girl.
Hey. It's been a while. I met Nicole, oh my gosh, I don't even know, a long time ago. At least 13 years ago, it feels.
Yeah, for sure. When we first met, it was very kismet and like kindred spirits. So even though I may have only met you 13 years ago, it was like lifetimes, of unraveling and coming together. So it was really awesome.
Yeah, I remember, and don't mind my dogs right now. I remember when we interacted, you basically shared with me that you had messages from the angels for me, and it was a very intense spiritual awakening time of my life. The things that you shared with me honestly opened me up, and it was a little bit frightening, but also I knew that it was on point.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do. And around that time, like I was newly giving messages to people, and I don't think I really had clear boundaries yet. So I apologize. Like I wouldn't necessarily do that today. Like people ask me all the time, like, do you just give messages and run up to people like the Long Island medium? And I'm like, no, because I actually have boundaries today. But 13, 15 years ago, I definitely would have. Like if I got something, it was just so paramount that I had to like tell people because it was on my heart and I thought it was going to like change their life and make an impact, and it was so raw and real. But channeling in my 20s versus channeling in my 40s is completely different, and like the filters I have, and you just learn to have like a little bit more finesse, or at least I do now. And yeah, so I'm glad you were open and receptive to the messages, so thank you for not thinking I was crazy and actually receiving them.
I did not think you were crazy. I thought it coincided with the time that another woman who channels the Archangel Raphael, and she lives in Pennsylvania, she had shared with me that I was a channel for Archangel Michael, and that flipped me, and then you reached out to me and you were like, I have to tell you this message from the angels. And you told me that I worked with Archangel Michael, and then I wrote everything down. It's in one of my journals, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is real. I've always felt that connection to Michael since a kid. But tell the podcast what you do.
Yeah. So so over the years things have definitely like evolved. This time around in this chapter of my life, I'm calling myself a psychic medium just because people need a label, and just to tell the general population what I do is basically I receive messages from beyond the veil. That can be an angel, a guide, a loved one in spirit. It can be an ET, an elemental, like whoever. And my team specializes in psychic information. So past, present, future timelines. We're very good with dates, times, names, past and present and forward. I mean, I have a whole phone full of confirmation. Like my team is very on point about specific times, dates, things that are going to happen, and just really helping people get into their preferred timeline and where they want to go in life. And like the most common comment I get is like, wow, like your team, like really all that beautiful stuff is planned for me. And I'm like, why wouldn't it be? Like in the eyes of creation,
Yeah.
the angels, they love us so much. They have amazing forward trajectory for us, things that are going to happen, whether it is spiritual gifts, falling in love, coming more into yourself, being empowered, releasing a podcast, releasing a book, like whatever it is, like our angels want us to be on our specific timeline and really help us get there so that we can have the best life possible. That's not to say that we don't live through trauma or drama. And I tell people that all the time. But the trauma or the drama actually makes you a better channel, makes you more compassionate, empathetic. It makes you more real and raw and authentic so you can actually help humans and help yourself along the way. Stuff happens to all of us, and like our guides, our angels, and our loved ones in spirit are here to help that and to help us move forward and also to help us heal. So, right now, I'm specializing in the psychic mediumship development area of life.
I love that. Yeah, when I first met you, I know you were channeling Archangel Metatron. That was the big messages that were coming through. And I'm like I shared earlier, the messages that you gave to me resonated, although they scared me because I knew they were true, which sometimes truth is a little bit, you know. But I love that, you know, just watching your evolution, and now you're helping others to develop their own psychic mediumship gifts. I think that's really powerful and incredible. And I want to hear more about the time that I just want to hear your whole story, because I remember the story up until I met you, but I don't know what has transpired really since then. But whatever you're feeling called to share, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, definitely. So Archangel Metatron is still on my team. Like obviously I'm wearing Metatron's cube. He
Yeah.
is like my right hand man. You know, that is like
Mhm.
my brother in spirit. So Metatron stepped on my stream of consciousness when I was 14 because I was literally trying to leave the planet. I was very suicidal at a very young age because I was born into a family that I had an extrasensory ability. My family didn't necessarily understand, and also their stuff kind of seeped onto me, like whether it was divorce or abuse or there was step parents involved and all kinds of stuff, and I just felt lonely and abandoned, and so I chose, drugs, alcohol, self-harm, any kind of way to get outside of myself because I wasn't feeling good. And I often say that most starseeds, angelics, those with extrasensory abilities, we usually have a problem with drugs or alcohol, or those of us that have been abused and we go to self-harm. And that usually happens in our childhood. Since I'm very close with my family now, and we've gone back into my history, and my dad has told me stories about when I was 5 or 6, and I would get the family together and reveal psychic information before I could read. I would tell him things that I was reading on the TV, and understand foreign languages. And my mentor talks about that, understanding foreign languages through the channel, because you just open your heart to a different
Mhm.
octave and you can actually understand things through the heart center, words, vibration. And so, and then I would have a lot of, visitations from my babysitter who was elderly, who had passed on, and other family members that had passed on. So I've always had a team of spirit around me. And when I suffered abuse as a child, that's who I ran to in spirit. Was like I wanted to pop out of the body so that I could hang out with my relatives in spirit so that they could take care of me, because what I was experiencing at home or in this physical dimension was way too much for me to handle, and I needed a safe place to go. So that's how that developed. And then as your teenage years go on, you kind of like get in trouble. You do a lot of
Yeah.
things that I didn't want to do. And my angels always came in and saved me in the nick of time. I remember always having like that loud, resounding boom of like where to go and who should I not trust and where should I turn? And, I should have died like 4 times. And I definitely
Mhm.
crossed the veil probably about 4 times, because every time I popped out of my body, whether it was through overdose or something else, I always landed in the arms of the angels. And I always remember seeing my team in spirit, and they would just hold me there. And they would tell me that God wasn't done, that my life wasn't done, and that I needed to go back to earth. And the only reason that I agreed to come back to earth is if I understood everything, if I understood all timelines, all dimensions, how the body worked, how the soul worked, how reincarnation worked, how, like, that was the deal. And this is where Metatron comes in, because Archangel Metatron is that angel that understands all of those things. So, I mean, every angel obviously understands all of that, but Metatron specifically talks about timelines, dimensions, different realities, mirrored realities, quantum physics, the quantum field, and we talk about all of these realities where you can shape shift and move energy and heal and gain immortality and all the things. And that's where my studies began with him when I was about 14, and we just really learned all of these things. So from 14 to 24, that's I was studying with Metatron, and then 24, I think that's when I met you, probably 24 to 30, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And my presence was more in helping people get sober and also helping in the mental health field. And then I moved over into business development and marketing. And then basically, like when in 2011, there was a big shift for a lot of people, where a lot of people were waking up again in 2010.
2011 was a big
Yeah.
year for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like everybody was, yeah,
That
everybody was
resonates for
waking up.
sure.
Yeah. I feel like there was something in the DNA that just like woke up at that time, and everybody was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, we're waking up now. So I got the message that I was supposed to leave corporate America and really just carry these gifts throughout the rest of humanity and to help serve on a bigger level. So that's when I started traveling and throughout the US, down south a lot, Florida, Texas, Arizona, Nevada, Washington. And I lived in all of those states and just went back and forth for like the next 10 years. And so yeah, there was a lot of people that I met, a lot of fun that I had. And, I had two babies. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and they're amazing. And they're named after the angels. And they have extrasensory abilities. They give their teachers in school readings. Like, I'll come and pick them up, and their teachers will tell me about stuff that they said. So my one son's very psychic. My other son is very, he has a lot of the mediumship stuff going on. And they're both really bright and beautiful, and I
Aww.
don't tell them that there's anything different, because I'll bring them to work with me where they can see spirits and angels, and they'll do like little readings and stuff. So it's a lot of fun to see these gifts go down the DNA and really expand what we've been given. But I tell people a lot, especially in my psychic development and mediumship courses, like, we all have the same hardware. We're all born with the same ability to wake up psychically on one level or another. And it's really, what do we choose to do with those abilities, and how do we really serve, or how can we help ourselves and others evolve into the next level? And that's really where I'm at now, is helping people do that.
That is so amazing. And I when you were talking about your kids, I could feel them. And I love that you're encouraging them to cultivate their gifts instead of, well, how society is, I think that's incredible and I love it. And it's just, yeah, life is so wild. I don't know why I'm laughing about it, but because it just is. And they're my dogs. But yeah, so I feel like there's a lot of parallels between us. I mean, I feel like I'm a little bit later in the game, but I was kicked out of corporate America probably 3 years ago now, and I've tried to get back in, but God and Michael and my team are like, no, nice try. Like, we want you over here. And that's been it's been hard for me, as a Capricorn, as someone who had a lot of structure, to now move into this place of just literally trusting spirit and being in fluidity. So did you just fully take the jump, or did you also have some fear around it?
I mean, yeah, 15 years later, I still have fear. Yeah, like this
Yeah.
is like a real thing. Because what you have to do as an entrepreneur and as a business person is you constantly have to recreate yourself depending on what the collective is seeking. And it took me a long time to figure that out because when I first came out, I was a full body trance medium leaving my body so that the angels could.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that was like super scary for people. And I didn't realize that. And so as time has gone on, yes, this is something I can do. I'm a trance medium, I'm a physical medium. So I do large group events now. I do hundreds of people where I will show up and I'll do a show and I'll do comedy. And I'm at bars, casinos, clubs, comedy clubs, restaurants, sports bars. People are drinking, having a good time. I'm reaching the collective on such a baseline, visceral level because I'm introducing them to the world of spirit, into the world of angels, and actually giving them the gems, the jewels, something to go home with. And in like that short of time together, we reach God, man. And so like, how do I get there? So I make it very acceptable, very easy for people to get on board with. It's not something that's so far outside of themselves. So like for them to actually imagine that an angel is taking over my body is a little bit too much. So I had to come back in. So being my background's in business, that's what I really do love. I love business development, I love marketing, but I love the angels more. So it was like, how can I marry the two of those together and really come up with products and service offerings that are going to be of service to the collective and not necessarily something that I want to do. So it's like I want to do something, but like the collective doesn't understand that yet. So like what is the in between? And it really took me a lot of years to figure that out. Right now, people want to talk to their loved ones in spirit. I can do that very well, and I'm very good at it. So I'm like, okay, let me do this because it's a way for me to be of service. And then those that want to go deeper in their spirituality and into their development, I can create like a course or a different meeting, or they can meet with me personally that want to go a little bit further. But it took me a while to really understand that. And so being a trance medium and being a physical medium, what does that mean? So a trance
Yeah, I was
medium,
going to ask you that.
yeah. So a trance medium is somebody that can leave the body at will and allow spirit to take over the body. This is a very old style of mediumship that was very commonplace in the 1800s. My family lineage is from Wales in England, and this is something that we practice as a family or through the lineage. So my family is Catholic, and then there's
Mhm.
a section of Catholicism called charismatic Catholicism, which is basically where you leave the body at will and you allow the Holy Spirit to take over your body for miracles of healing and miracles of the Holy Spirit coming through and praying over this person in tongues, which is another frequency or vibration. So I took that and went one step further and allow the angels or spirit to take over my body and to talk to people. That was too much. And I actually did blow my body out. I gained 40 pounds. I did not look like myself. It's not for the faint of heart because you think about it, you have so much pressure coming in the body. My body would just blow up with spiritual energy. And it wasn't, I like to look good. So this was not happening. I'm not doing this
Yeah,
anymore. Right? So like I'm coming down, like this channel is vain here.
I
Okay.
get
So
that. Oh my God.
like I'm still single and cute and I want to be that way. Okay. So I told them they needed to back out of here, and which they are happy to do. If you work with a team that is in alignment, they will listen to you. So physical
Yeah.
mediumship is the next thing we were doing. And physical mediumship is where spirit can use the spiritual energy within your body to move physical matter in this dimension. So we have tons of spirits and orbs and things moving in this physical dimension caught on film through my shows. Like they'll see like lights will pop and then green will fly across the stage and then they'll like play with my hair and move all kinds of stuff. And so like that's been really fun for me to explore as well. And that's something I can't create. Like physically, like you can see that spirit is moving something in the room and I am not doing that. So it brings that element of realism to the audience and that they understand like this is not me doing it, this is something outside of me. And it breaks down the barrier of skepticism, which I'm a skeptic too. I'm a very healthy skeptic. Like I don't believe shit until I see it, feel it, understand it through my own body. And I've just learned that over the years. So that's something I want to give to people, is like I want to give them an opportunity to experience spirit on one level or another so that it makes sense to their consciousness, and it's not me telling them something, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah,
Those are different areas. Yes.
I think it's amazing. And I I saw a video of you where they were playing with your hair. And
Yeah.
I swear yesterday I was somewhere and my friend's hair, I mean, I don't know what else would have caused it. I think it was her grandfather, which I forgot to tell her. But when I was looking at her, I saw her piece. My dog is, she is on another.
Wanting to be part of
This
it.
is Sophie. Yeah, she really wants to be part of this conversation. Yeah, I saw like tiny strands like going in different directions, and I'm like, there's no way that's static. And it was like suspended. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I honed in and I'm like, who is that? And I felt like it was her grandfather, but I literally just remembered that as you were talking. So I think it sounds amazing. And I know you're offering a course. Do you have to be in person for this course or can it be virtual?
Yeah, yeah, the whole thing's virtual. So I have people joining from all over, all over the world. So it starts March 27th, and I do 5 weeks, and it's 5 live classrooms a week and mentorship. And I apologize. That's what happens to mediums when you go in and out of dimensions. It
I
takes
know, right?
circuits for me to be here now.
I know.
That's where the value is that I will be meeting with people and we will be meeting as a group, and I will do a 2 hour classroom every week, and I will help you really hone in on your gifts and practice and do readings, and also show you like where to get the information, because every octave and every dimension holds different information. So I will show people all of that, and I'm going to show you different layers of mediumship, but the beginning is psychic development and mediumship. So like waking up all of your psychic centers so that you can actually feel yourself and you can get this information for yourself. This isn't just geared towards people that want to do readings professionally. It's more about understanding your place in the universe and how to receive and interpret all the information that's around you so that you can have a fulfilling life. And also, if you want to communicate with your guides, your angels, your loved ones of spirit, where that all is. And so I'll be doing 5 weeks of that. I definitely have 40 hours of pre-recorded material that you will be getting that as well. And I will talk more about these different layers of mediumship, and also talking about how to do an appropriate reading, like what that looks like, and all the different sequencing I do, and then your daily practice so that you can walk away with a daily practice and a daily way to communicate with your guides. And so that starts March 27th, and we go for 5 weeks online.
That sounds amazing. Is there a cap or it could because
No,
it's online and
yeah.
I'm interested in the course. I was, I never really liked to call myself a medium, even though through the spiritual healing sessions that I do for people, the deceased loved ones have come in and the angels and guides. And one time I was shopping in Wilmington, North Carolina. I'm sure, have you been there?
No.
I was at like a spiritual shop, just minding my own business by myself. I like to take trips by myself sometimes, and I was very drawn to going there. And I was checking out at the counter, and this woman said, "You're a medium." And looked around because I didn't want anyone to be like in close earshot. And I said, "Yeah, but I don't tell anyone." She said, "I know, I can see it, but it's almost time."
Yeah.
The whole owning the mediumship thing is scary because honestly, for me, it's hard for me to just turn it on and turn it off. So I think, do you teach that in the course, how to kind of, and I love what you said. If you have a team, you can communicate with them, because I don't know if you remember any of those first messages to me, but you were like, you channel Archangel Michael, you can clear cities, you can clear portals, you can do exorcisms. And I heard the word exorcism and I freaked out and I said, please don't, I don't want to do that. I'm like, I don't want to see some of that. Like I think my gift is more clairsentient. I see things in people. I don't see it. I don't know how to really explain it in English.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you remember any of that, but I was like, oh my God. And you know, you told me to connect with Archangel Michael and develop a relationship with him and or it's, you know, how that goes. And so I've been doing that ever since. You really are a huge part of my spiritual journey. So I'm just so grateful that you exist and you offer your gifts for humanity and help people to kind of align to their purpose. I love that you do that.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah. I don't remember the messages, but thank you for, because I was really out of my body at that point. Like when I had met you, like I'm telling you, like it was real. I didn't have any filter, no boundaries. So, but I do remember Michael coming through and saying that you were a channel for him. That's about all I remember. I do remember that. And then, it's kind of jarring when that happens because you're like, really, an angel wants to speak through me or work with me? Like, how does that happen? So, um, but I can, yeah, I definitely can show people how to turn it on and turn it off. So I worked a long time in Sedona, and that was like what helped me is that I was seeing like 15 people a day. So you have to learn how to turn it on, turn it off super, super quick. So over the years, I've developed that. And then when I have a group of hundreds of people in the audience, I have hundreds of spirits in the ether, and I can see them in the ceiling rafters. And it's like, how do you discern what spirit goes with where? And like, how do you turn it off and on? And so like, yeah, I'm gonna teach everybody all of that. So that's why I'm saying there's no cap. Like we're gonna have fun. We're just gonna take, you're gonna take all the bells and whistles off, and we're going to see how this thing works, and it's a lot of fun. And they, when you set up the parameters with your team in spirit, like, you bring in the heavy hitters, you bring in Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, Gabriel, Raphael, you set up the space first and you set your team up, then you have, there's nothing's going to come in that will deter you or that is going to be wrong or that would hurt you in some way. Like when you call the shots and set the stage, so to speak, like you know exactly what you're doing and who you're talking to and like how to turn it on and turn it off. And really your job is to be of service to your client and to be of service to the spirit world, and they likewise want to be of service to you. The ones are the grandfathers, the grandmothers, the grieving widows, the spouses, the husbands. Everybody's just so grateful to be there. And so like you hang on to that stream of consciousness of love and unity and like forgiveness and compassion and all of that. And then you'll find the gems and the jewels of the information. And then like, so nothing weird comes in. So.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about now I know that you work with angels and I work with angels as well. What about some of the, so I had a medium on the show because I'm calling this a show now all of a sudden. That's the word that they're giving me. I'm like, okay. And he was actually talking about some of the darker things that he's seen, and it was a little bit frightening. But I think he was telling the truth.
Yeah.
So it was, because some people are all like love and light. And I mean, I channel Archangel Michael. I know that there's also other things that exist out there. And how do we maintain like protection? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah, totally. That's why I have like so many chapters devoted to setting space and sequencing and what this really looks like behind. There's an order to it, and if you
Yeah.
follow the order, nothing weird's going to come in and nothing's going to hurt you.
But that stuff does exist.
Oh yeah, that stuff exists all the time. Yeah, like I've worked on cases that people have been murdered, kidnapped, disembodied, possessed. Yeah, I've worked on some serious cases. I've brought people back to life. I don't really like saying that because it's not me, it's the angels, but like people that have died on the surgery table. I had this one family in India that contacted me, and like we went and found their sister that was in the ethers and helped her come back to the body because she popped out of the body during surgery. She didn't know how to get back into the body. It's nothing I did. I was there as a support system. So there's many layers that mediums can take. And so that's not my forte. It's not my specialty. But if I'm
Yeah.
called to do something like that, I will be like I said, my whole thing is being of service to people and being of service to the family.
I love that. And
Yeah.
I also wanted to touch back on how you said it's so fascinating to watch how the gifts go through the DNA line. I learned recently that my great grandmother could read dreams. This is on my mom's side. My grandmother spoke in tongues in her sleep. And then my mom has had visions and dreams and she helped a detective once with a murder case. And then my aunt also can see. And now I'm just like, I have all this stuff happening and trying to hone into that. But I think it's awesome that I think that we really are spiritual beings and we're put into these human bodies to kind of remember where we came from and who we really are. And I also love that you said that we're all able to do this if we tap in and clear. Like we have to continue to clear. And I also love that you said that you assisted in the soul retrieval of that woman. And I love your humility, Nicole. I love your humility because that was one of the biggest lessons that Michael, when I started connecting and I started free writing like a crazy person, words that weren't mine. I'm sure you understand that too. That the biggest thing is when you're doing this work is to remain humble. And that's why I called my podcast The Conduit, because it's me as a body, but I'm just the channel for spirit. I'm just the facilitator. My dog is like really loving our energy. She's like,
Oh.
she's so, yeah, I love this dog. She's so sweet. But yeah, I feel like I just rambled, but
No, all good. Yeah, totally following you.
like,
Yeah,
can we
it's
talk about the humility aspect and humility versus ego? And I don't know why that's coming through, but it is for me.
yeah, I have a lot of experience with that.
Yeah, girl.
I, yeah. I used to think there was something so wrong with me because I wanted to give the credit to the angels all the time and not me. And well, not wrong with me, but like I was around people that were like, well, you do it too. And like you need to own it. And it's like, not that I don't own it, but like I know the power I'm aligning myself with and
Yeah.
way greater than me. Okay. So like I know that I'm to be of service. And when I am at that point of service, then my gifts come a hundredfold, a thousandfold through the body. So when I start functioning from ego, I don't really get the highest information. And my deal with my angels, my spirit was always that I wanted to get the highest information. And when you hear my invocations and what I talk about is like the highest information for all concerned, and that it's accurate, detailed, and forthright. And like that is my creed, and that is how I get that information because I don't want anything less. I'm not doing this for anything less. I didn't die to be like semi good. I want to be great. Okay. I want to be amazing. And that's because that's the people deserve that. I'm not just here, smoke and mirrors. I could be doing a million other things. Right.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so I was involved with somebody that tried to hurt me in that layer of using my gifts against me and really telling me that, just brainwashing me. And I didn't understand that at first and didn't understand that type of abuse because I had never been subjected to that type of abuse. I understood physical abuse, emotional abuse. This was psychological, and it was coming from a person that I really loved. And so little by little, it started to chip away at me. And I saw that they were using my gifts, tried to be like me, but then using the gifts for to hurt people. So what I then
Oh.
and I understood is that they started channeling a poltergeist, which was an unconscious energy that pretends to be a different spirit. We call them mocking spirits. We call them dark demons, whatever you want to say. And it's not the highest light. You are now not channeling an angel. You are channeling something that is mimicking an angel. But the way that you understand that is because what type of information is coming through the channel of light and good is always going to be about unity. It's always going to be about abundance. It's always going to be about how wonderful you are. And yes, there are some things on the planet that happen that you will get a bird's eye view, but it is always about problem solving. Is it about
Hmm.
love and abundance, or is
Yeah.
it lack and separation? If you're channeling something that's about lack and separation, I will guarantee you, you are channeling something that is not of the highest light. but it took me like 10 years to not understand that. I knew that, but 10 years of an unraveling of a relationship to see that happen to somebody and how dark they really went, and also how they hurt a lot of people saying that they were a channel. And that, I guess, was a lesson that I needed to see in the flesh, that somebody actually would try to use these gifts to harm others. And I didn't understand that because I came from a place of such gratitude for being alive, such gratitude that I could help somebody, such gratitude that I could help a mother, a child, somebody that had been injured in some sort of way. I never fathomed that somebody would try to take this and use it to hurt people. And so I eventually will write a book about this. It's just not time yet.
Yes.
And this person is receiving a huge jail sentence to the tune of 80 years in
Oh my
prison.
God, I just got full chills.
Yeah, we'll never see the light of day again. And so, that's
Wow, because of manipulation of their gifts.
because of manipulation of their gifts and different timelines and trying to create a false universe that doesn't exist, not one of, you can't say you're channeling the light and then really be, channeling something dark underneath of that. So,
Was this
uh,
person consciously doing that?
yeah, I believe that they were, because I had gone to them a million times and said, stop doing this. You are not channeling what you think you are. And that's when you are working for the light of God, you have to be able to say that to people, and you have to
Yeah.
be willing to look, crazy, or that you don't know what you're talking about, or going against the grain, I should say, going against the grain, because he had all of these followers and people that worshiped him. He was like a demigod. And here I
Totally.
am going, you're not talking to what you think you're talking to. And, you know, but now that person's in prison. So,
Well, yeah, and I do truly feel that God and spirit will always like we may be diverted, right, by people and things on the path, but God is always going to right things. Like I think good and love is going to overcome. At least that's what I think. Do you think that too? I mean,
yeah, it has to, because I'm not here for any other reason. Like it.
I completely I feel that as well. That is I really feel like the whole worshiping and demigod and all that is, I mean, I just, yeah, when I came into these gifts, I was afraid really, and also in reverence of the power of what we're working with, like you said. And I love that I love that you have all the reverence and the humility and what you stand for. I feel like I'm in alignment with those things as well. I don't really care if people know me. I just want to be able to help at least one person, and then I feel like I've lived my purpose. And so far I've been doing this, I guess, for 13 years through yoga, and it's evolved for me too. I used to call it shamanic Reiki, and then I'm like, no, this is like, I didn't even know it was in the Bible about that Holy Spirit healing, because that's what I feel like is happening. I don't know how to explain it, but I used to call it one thing and now I call it a spiritual healing, because it really is the Spirit, Holy Spirit working. It's not me. And it's been an interesting spiritual journey for sure.
Yeah. No, not for the faint of heart, not for the light of heart either,
Definitely not. And this year, right before 2025 happened, I feel like I went through some crazy physical upgrades. Like they were changing my programming in my brain and healing my heart on a physical level. So not a lot of people know this, but I'm going to share with you. I'm actually like wearing a heart monitor right now. I was going to pull my sweater down, probably not appropriate. I feel in my heart of hearts that I'm totally fine. I think this is energetic healing happening, but I'm listening to the suggestions. And yeah, I just feel like I'm going through a whole DNA upgrade, which is kind of what you talked about happened in 2011. That was a really pivotal time for me too. It's when I first attempted sobriety in a real way and knew that I had to cleanse my body of certain things. So yeah, I don't know why I just
Well,
shared that on the podcast publicly, but
yeah, I mean, Metatron talks to me all the time about the heart, and specifically when you're angel or you have angelic DNA, the heart is usually there's heart issues. So whether it's heart palpitations, a heart
Yeah.
murmur, heart is it irregular heartbeat? It's because the body is receiving so much energy, and it's like hard for the heart to assimilate that much energy in this dense form, and so like there's always a heart issue. So I would just I think it's an upgrade as well. I don't know specifically what's happening for you, but I definitely know that the angels always talk about the heart for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I so far so good. Everything is normal and they're just tracking me to ensure everything's normal. But yeah, I felt like it was my body's way of catching up with what's happening in the spiritual, because there's been so many different upgrades as far as my third eye opening, and and just knowing things and seeing things. And so it's just been a massive awakening. I wanted to also ask you, because you say you could see different timelines. Now, do you see timelines for the collective?
I do.
Or
I've been
is it, yeah, like individual more?
Yeah, I've been focusing it more on the individual because like of what I went through with that person. There was a lot of timelines that I was um forecasting and talking about, and I kind of felt like really used. So I'm still kind of healing from that. So I know I will be back in there again talking about things like especially politics, and there was a lot of stuff going on with like the Mandela effect and politicians and different things that were happening on the world stage, and a lot of it did come to fruition. And then also I know that there's a lot of implementation and also false timelines and things that psychics get inundated with because they're trying to when I say they, I mean just the collective. Everybody is trying to create something on a different timeline, but at the end of the day, we make it. Humans coincide, with AI. Nothing crazy is going to happen. What's going on with currency and the world stage? We're all meant to be here and wake up and laugh at the parade and the show. And really, we're in the matrix, and you can, glitch it, move it around, create something that you want to create. And like I am choosing to create a planet of abundance, love, and beauty because I have kids now, and that's where I exist, of abundance, love, and beauty. And like we dance with the angels, we sing, we have fun, we go to the ocean. Like that's what I'm creating, and then other people can create other realities that they want to be involved in. But humans are going to be fine. We evolve. Nothing detrimental is going to happen. And a lot of this other stuff that's happening on the world stage is more just to wake people up and to really get them to stand in their own truth of who they are. I think we're doing a great job. Because I have a lot of clients that are on both sides of the equation, and then I have clients that are neutral, and I have clients all walks of life. And so I just think we're at a really good time for people to wake up and decide who they are and what they want to create here.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that yeah, it really is all about what you put your energy into and your focus on, and where your frequency is within you is kind of what is going to show on the outside, right? There's a lot of fear programming, and I try not to buy into it or watch it, and you know like not in a spiritual bypassing kind of a way. Like I'm aware that it exists. It's just like, where do I want to put my time and energy into it?
Oh yeah, exactly. Because there's a lot of moving parts, and there are people in higher dimensions. There's beings in higher dimensions in different systems and programs that may not be very vocal right now, that are set in place that will guide, guard, and protect what's happening. Like when you're dealing with planet Earth, you're not just dealing with planet Earth, you're dealing with the other planets around Earth. And there are councils, there are specific councils that are designated for the trajectory of Earth. So it encompasses beings from other worlds and other timelines. It's not just us, okay? And like this has been documented since the 1940s, probably before that, but 1940s in the US, if you really want to look in the archives, like there there's knowledge available to us. I love that we're in effect with AI. I really believe that it can be used for the betterment of humanity. I have seen technology help me with my children, because they don't have a father. And so like that has been, we joke that like Siri is the parent that I need, like there's just, I'm just saying like there's a way to coincide with all of it, all of the advancements that we have right now. And so instead of being fearful of it, let's look and see what's happening, and see the higher timeline. And that's where my studies have really helped me to see the higher timeline, because it's like, okay, the fear timeline that you're talking about, and then there's like the higher timeline of like what it looks like for everybody to be involved. And I have had friends that have worked on different coalitions with space programs and stuff like that, like a long time ago, and I have gotten a bird's eye view with these different demographics and people that are putting things together for business, for technology, for currency. There's a lot of different things, moving parts happening here. And really, it's about us creating the universe that we wish to see here, and being a channel and understanding that you affect matter and creation with your thoughts and your vibration. Even if the world is telling you something different, you can still affect reality in a positive way. And so that's the stream of consciousness that I'm going on now.
And I love that. And I'm so glad that you shared that. I'm so glad that we have been able to connect after all these years. And it just feels familiar to just be in this energy and space with you. I'm so excited about the work that you're doing on the planet. And is there anything else that, maybe spirit wants to share, or you want to share, or both? Anything that you're feeling called to share right now? Also, my dogs have been so like active this whole time, and this has only happened a few times when I'm on a podcast with somebody. So they're feeling all the energy. Both of my dogs right now. Just saying.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, so there's a lot. I feel like lately I've been talking a lot about you know, abuse, trauma, recovering from that, just because we're channeling or we have different gifts or things happen, like you learn a lot just as being on the planet, and you also learn a lot about human development and living life. When I first turned on my gifts, or when they were really pronounced, and they still are, but I was kind of separating myself from humanity a little bit. And as the like 20 years have gone by now, I am now integrated back into humans, and like realizing that the human piece of me is just as important as like this extrasensory ability. And so like I meet people where they're at, I believe walking through those human issues, such as being a full-time mom, suffering mental and spiritual abuse from somebody that I was in love with at one point, financial abuse, what this really looks like, and then also helping people to heal from it on a visceral level. Because there's no point in having the gifts and then running off to a mountaintop and just
Right.
channeling. I'm not really helping anybody at that point. And then also understanding that like, God loves everybody, okay? And like whether I curse or smoke a cigarette, or do something like have sex, like God's going to love me, because there's a point where you get that you're like, this vessel is so holy, I don't want to do anything. And it's like, no, man, like
Yeah,
let's
you
just.
go to the extremes when you're trying to figure out this path. And I'm so glad that you shared that, because I feel like I've experienced some really dark sides of humanity myself, and also at the expense of other people. And I'm not blaming them, because I have free will. God loves us so much that gave us all free will. I was in those situations, but I used to think I wanted to just be like a full-time spiritual healer. but I think it's also so important, like you said, to navigate being human and being part of the world, not apart from the world. And also, yeah, God does love everybody, and I fucking curse too. And
Yeah.
it's, yeah, I've read some of the Bible. I've always been somebody that is a spiritual seeker, so I've read the Bible, and I've read, the Yoga Sutras, and read about different theology and taken courses and stuff. And to me, it's never resonated that God is punishing. God is loves all of us unconditionally. And so, yeah, I love that you shared those things as well, that it is important to incorporate being a human, because that's the point, is being of service here on this planet. So I love that you said that too.
Yeah, and it enables me to be like a better mother and like not, be so harsh on myself when I don't have a great day with my kids, or, things fall through the cracks, or I didn't do the school project with them, like whatever it is. It just allows me grace, and I need some grace because it's
I
just
love.
like, yeah, like the stuff that I've been through, I need to heal, and I am healing, and it's been 2 years, and I'll continue to heal. But God uses us as that conduit, as that person of light to help others, or because they need to know where home is as well, right within our own heart and center. And when you can show the humanness of you and like the realness of you, I believe you're a better channel, medium, psychic. I just do. It just
Well,
feels more natural.
yeah, and honestly, the level of suffering and trauma and all this, and then when you heal from those things and you have that depth and capacity to communicate with other humans. It's interesting you said that all happened to you 2 years ago. Is, yeah, that's when it happened to me too. Like, we went through similar abuse and neglect, and I probably was at the lowest point of my life 2 years ago emotionally. And so it's, yeah, healing is, it's part of our path, I guess. But that's so interesting. I didn't realize that it was the same time frame.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe
Whoa.
something was going through the collective. I'm sure it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Nicole, for being here and sharing your story and your gifts. If listeners or viewers are feeling called to work with Nicole, or they want to join your mediumship classes, which sound incredible, I'm definitely interested. Can you tell us how people can connect with you?
Sure, sure. So my website is myangelteam.com. And yeah, it's really simple. So just go to myangelteam.com and everything's on there. The course, all my social media, Nicole Angel or My Angel Team on social, all over the place. But if you just go to my website, everything's there, one-stop shop. So
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nicole. And thank you to everyone who's watching or listening, however you're consuming the podcast. Thank you so much for the support. Like, subscribe, do whatever you want, leave a comment. If you are interested, please reach out to Nicole. If you're interested in telling your story or being a guest on the podcast, please reach out to me. And we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.